Okay, and you can start the timer. Have a seat, sir. There's a microphone there that should be live. And first thing yes, Ann? Okay. First thing I'm going to ask you is, since everyone that comes to our Tea Party meetings promises to be a true Texas conservative, what is a true Texas conservative? What does conservative mean?
To me, it means following the Constitution. Following the Constitution, adhering to the law of the land, the rule of law, as well as being fiscally, economically proficient as a conservative. All these, they bring in the refugees. And we got homeless veterans. That's just wrong. And we can't continue that. We can't continue to let our government get bloated and out of control like they are. And we need to cut that. We need to cut our spending. We need to cut the level of the federal government.
Anything else about why we should consider you to be perhaps true conservative versus someone who isn't rock rib conservative?
I believe in three principles. This is the way I was raised, God, country, family. If it's going to harm any of those three, you definitely, I would say no to anything that would do that. I'm pro-life. I'm a born-again believer. I'm as you might want to say, a back row Baptist. I do believe in God, and I thank Jesus for dying for my sins. Above all else, I believe that we've got to protect this country, and that means on all fronts. Like I said, rule of law, the Constitution, and financially.
Now, we presume that you've gotten through life pretty well to get to this stage. Why in the world would you want to run for United States Congress?
That's an easy one for me. I'm a Persian Gulf War veteran. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. He passed away about a year ago. My grandfather, World War II, he was down in Schofield Barracks in Hawaii. My great-grandfather, World War I. On my mother's side, Robert Livingston, the Louisiana Purchase, as well as he was one of the 5 creators of the Declaration. He was in the authors. You can say it's in my blood, you can say it's in my DNA. It's part of my makeup, my deep love for this country. Basically, back in 1989, I took an oath to defend this country. Basically, I wrote a check up to and including my life, if necessary. That check hasn't been cashed, and that oath never expires. I can no longer be in the military. I'm 45 almost, I'll be 46 on the 28th. And I just want to continue serving my country, this country that I love, this country, the greatest country ever. And I want to ensure that that goes on being that way.
First and foremost, thank you.
Thank you.
For your service to your country.
Appreciate that, thank you.
We have a little better idea of why you're running. Now we need maybe a little expansion on why you believe you're qualified and why you would be the choice.
Well, like I said, I've got a deep love for this country, and I would never do anything to harm it or any of its citizens. This is the country that, I'm not going to leave it. My kids are here, my grandkids. I got 2 grandchildren, and I want a better future for them. I want this country to go on to it's freedom's last hope, as President Ronald Reagan said. And what's going on now today, from the left and the liberals, they're doing everything they can to tear that apart. I'm the type of guy that I'll get up there and I'll stomp, I'll scream, I'll yell until I'll rattle some cages, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think there's enough of that going on in the right. I don't think there's enough people in the GOP they're just rolling over and letting all these policies, these bad policies, affect everyday choices for us citizens. And I think that needs to end. And I'll be one of those people that I can't change the world with one person, but you know what? I can turn some heads and I can get some people thinking our way. And all it takes is a spark and then that fire ignites. And I'll be that spark.
I wouldn't know how to begin to be a United States congressman. What does it take?
I think it takes a deep love for this country, which I definitely have. Like I said, I volunteered to lay down my life if necessary for this country. I want a better future for not only my kids but my grandkids. And not only that, but generations beyond, and not just my family, your family, and your family. I think it takes dedication, and I guess, I'm one person, but I would surround myself with like-minded patriots to ensure that that would be done, to ensure that our country will not be destroyed, get off this path that we're on right now.
Running for office takes some money, and every candidate will get this question.
Okay.
What's your philosophy of campaign financing and practice? What's the practice in terms of?
Well, basically, I'm self-financed, so you're not going to see a lot of my signs laying around everywhere. It does. It takes. I've spent money to get to where I'm at, and it does take money. But I also believe that you got the special interest groups that are taking the process to where it's poison. And I don't have all the answers. I admit that, but I think we do need to do something about finance laws and revamp.
And let's move on to a difficult issue, and that is a couple of really tough issues. So let me select natural marriage versus the current, most recent ruling by the Supreme Court. If you're in Congress, the bill that you more want passed, that you're more associated with than anything else, is tied to a provision that provides money in support of gay marriage. What do you do?
I'd vote no. There's no way. I would not go back on my principles. And that also needs to change. Lumping 3 or 4, even a dozen bills into one, that's wrong. And that needs to end. But I would not, in any way, shape, or form, vote for that.
Okay, at this point, we have 2 minutes left, so we'd love to have your question from the audience. Rick?
As you know, our incumbent representative of Congress has served for, I believe, 26 years or 28 years, something like that, and is 85 years old, probably is going to die in office. What's your opinion of term limits?
I think we need to have term limits. Nobody should have that much power for so long. The president has term limits. There's no reason why Congress and Senate shouldn't either.
Barbara?
So it takes a lot of time to read any bill to know what the intended and unintended consequences are. If you don't have, you personally, not your staff, if you don't have the time to read each and every bill that you're required to vote on, how are you going to vote?
I'd vote no.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There's
Good
no
job.
reason to vote yes on something we got to pass it to see what's in it. We see that train wreck now. There's no way I'd vote no.
Right.
Time for one more. Greg?
You said you would support term limits for the House and the Senate. Would you support it for the Supreme Court?
Would you also support term limits for the Supreme Court?
Well, as we know, the Supreme Court, by the Constitution, is indeed a lifetime appointment. But I think that should be reviewed. There definitely should be some discussions, and that should be looked into. I agree with that, yes.
And I have one final question. Can you think of an example of a time when you were asked or perhaps even required by a superior person in the military or private sector to do something that you thought was a challenge to integrity?
That's a good one. Can't think of nothing military-wise because, I mean, we're like that.
We hope not.
Even in my civilian life, I really can't think of anything.
Well, I'll let you go on that.
Okay, because
as you can see, we can only just hit the tip of the iceberg with these questions in 9 minutes. Please stay afterwards as long as people are willing to talk.
Yes, I will be here afterwards.
We do visit outside the room so the church staff can clean up as
Sure.
soon as our meeting's over at 8:30. But David, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank
It's
you
been
for
an
your
honor.
willingness to serve.
It's been an honor. Thank you.